Hello, everyone. Welcome to another podcast. I'm John. I'm here with Mike and Eric. And today we're just going to do a quick look at some different flashlights. We've talked about some weapon lights and some night vision stuff in the past, but now we're going to look at kind of everyday carry lights or maybe like a bedside light. So yeah.
Yeah.
How you guys doing today?
Good. Doing well.
Good.
Doing well.
Coffee.
Yeah. I got my light.
Yeah.
So.
So I guess maybe the first thing is, I guess lights that we carry every day. So what do you guys, I think both of you guys usually carry something or have something close at hand?
Yeah, I keep it pretty simple. If it works, I'm going to use it, and I'm just going to duplicate it everywhere. So I have 5 of this exact same setup. Batteries the same, lights the same, and I forget the lumens. I think it's like 400 or so. So it's
just say all the lumens.
Yeah, all the lumens. Yeah, all the lumens. I mean, it's good. It does what it needs it to, and then, I have the batteries and I replace them once a year. It works. And it's got the O-ring to keep it sealed. So if it gets wet, it's still good. So I keep it simple. It's a surefire.
So I'm like Eric, and I got the same philosophy with all my equipment. Like I'm a gun guy, but I don't consider myself a gun nerd.
You don't geek out on it.
I don't geek out on
like John and I do
sometimes. It's healthy. It's nothing wrong with it. I don't know. But I'm the same with flashlights. I'm kind of like you. Like if it works, it works.
Yeah.
But don't ask me how many lumens it has or anything because I don't know. But I have a bunch of flashlights like we all do. They're like holsters. But the 2 I carry all the time are this Phoenix F12. I learned about Phoenix back when I used to run a lot of ultra marathons and long distance races because I used to have their F11, which is really small, and I could carry it in my hand like this when I was running.
Oh, okay.
And so I'd have a headlamp in the running through the night, and then I could have that in front of me, and then I could point at different things.
Right.
So I just like the Phoenix stuff. They're fairly cheap. I carry this one in my wallet. It's only about 2 inches long, and it's got a decent amount of light. It's adjustable and all that, so that's kind of like the backup. And then the one I carry in my pocket I just used it to get in the office to get the coffee creamer out. Right, I use all the time is an Asp. I get this from the same people that make the baton. I just like it because it's a little bit longer. We always talk about you could use this as a secondary striking tool, or you can definitely use that. It's like as a coup baton. So, and it's got you can push it on or lock it. I've got about 3 of these. So kind of like you, like if it works, it works.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I just kind of like the design of it. Yeah. So that's really only the reason. It's just I like it. So, otherwise I just have a bunch of random, I'm kind of like a surefire guy more than a streamlight guy, it seems. Like through no particular reason, it just seems like I have more of those.
Yeah.
So.
I think they just got in. I know John's got a plethora out there, but just talking on like the Streamlight and Surefire. I think just Surefire just got their stuff out there faster, but I think Streamlight, I think they're pretty well. I think all of my weapon mounted lights that are my ARs, I think I have one Surefire and the rest are Streamlights, and these are happen to be easy to buy on Amazon. I think they're like $60, $70 or whatever. And Black Friday you can usually get them like cheaper. So I've been picking them up as they go on sale. So
and that's what for like the Streamlight Surefire. I have both. Have used both, carried both, and they both work well. I will say I have broken Streamlights before. I've had Streamlights that I broke. I haven't broken a Surefire yet. Doesn't mean it won't happen in the future. But with Streamlight 2, the nice thing is, so like the first one I broke, I sent it into them, and they basically, because it broke, and they sent me a new one within like a week. I think I had a new one. So like every customer service interaction I've had with Streamlight has been great.
Yep.
And their lights work really well, and a lot of times depending on what you're getting, it could be 2/3 or a half of what the Surefire equivalent
Right.
is. So that's the one nice thing about those, and like. So yeah, like the Surefire might be what I have in my pocket, but as far as what I have in my vehicles, like I think I got one of these in every vehicle, or maybe two. Yeah, I have those around. The other one, we should see. Did you guys lose it in your monitor, or is it just me?
No, I can
Okay.
hear.
Okay.
No.
So we started carrying Olight too,
Yep,
in
I was
terms
gonna
of
mention, yeah.
budget stuff. There's so far in terms of like a nice budget light. Those work really well. We had the derecho here, so we at my house I think we were without power for about a week, and I had I think one of their single AAA battery lights, because anytime you're going inside of the house you got to have a light or something.
Yeah.
I threw one of those in my pocket, and I carried one around and had to swap the batteries out a couple of times because we were using it so much. But I used that a ton just because it was like. I could clip it to a pant or throw it in a pocket, and it was so small and light, kind of like the other one you have. That it was just easy to carry around. So
that's the one thing that I know you have like the slimmer one, so I like to carry with the Thyrum on there. So all of mine have the Thyrum, but it's not small. If you look at if you compare it to my hand, it's not small at all. So that's the one hindrance to this is it's big and bulky, but I know it's there.
Yeah.
And during the derecho, like I said, I used it all the time. My wife used them, and I mean, we had a good thing. We had them kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
Because the kids had one, we all had one, so it was kind of nice. But yeah, the one thing was it's kind of big and bulky. It's kind of got in the way sometimes.
yeah.
So that's the thing that's cool about flashlights, and I keep an Olight stashed in my truck.
Yeah.
Mine's a rechargeable.
Oh, okay.
And it has a little clip that goes on your hat. So, they got little cool features like that. But that's the cool thing about flashlights is they're relatively affordable.
Yep.
So you can stash them everywhere.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've probably got 15 flashlights around my house and in different bags and like everywhere. You know?
Yep. Yeah, and the Olight ones too. Like, for the price of them, like they're a great gift. Like I give them to people. Like, I'm like, do you have a light in your car? Here, just take this one. Take that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, which I think is helpful. But yeah, so in terms of kind of size and carrying and stuff like that, so this is a Surefire. It's like the EDC1 light. I've carried this one around quite a bit, and then just started recently kind of using the Thyrum mount on there, which from Eric's recommendation, and even with the loop on there. It's pretty easy to carry. It doesn't bother me too much. I tried at one point to do the EDCL2, and it was just like it was way too big to the point where like I'd sit down and it would bump the switch and it turns it on and your pocket gets hot. But what I have this one for is for like my home defense light, so my nightstand light.
Right.
That's what I have on there. I need to get another Thyrum for it, but and then the other one. So this is actually the Surefire Tactician, and this has two CR123 batteries as well. And this one I've carried around too, and this one's actually not too bad for being a two battery light. It's not too bad to carry. It's a lot slimmer. You can kind of see the size difference. The head diameter is smaller as well, so that one's not too bad either. And so the nice thing about these is the way they're set up right now, they're all momentary only. And then you can twist them to lock them to get them to stay on.
Yep.
But from a self-defense perspective, I like having the momentary only. The Streamlight ones that I have are all click on. Like if you push it part way, it will turn on. But then under stress or whatever, you're gonna push it all the way down and bottom it out.
And that's what I like about this one. It can be momentary only, but you can also click on. And I don't have to make any adjustments. That's one of the things that I like. But like you said, under stress, like if you don't practice it a lot, it's going to stay on. And when you're searching, especially if you're searching with a handgun or a rifle or whatever, you don't want to just flood everything. You want to be able to like click on there, and there, wherever you want it. You don't want to keep it on the entire time, right? So
and especially so like this one kind of has a raised section around it. So if you put your thumb across it versus like digging your thumb into it, then it's actually like because you have to push it down in decent ways to get it to actually click. So if you do it there, then it's less likely that you're gonna click it on. I think these are all momentary, but yeah, that's one thing you got to think about. Is you don't necessarily want to have your light constant on because then that's just a beacon
target
of where
to you,
are.
right? Yeah. Yep.
So that's a lot of times I like having the momentary switches on them, similar to the way you would on a rifle. And another neat thing about the Surefire ones. So I have my off screen. I have my AR. So this is a CR123. It's their Scout 300 light.
Yep.
So you can take the head off of this, and it actually uses the same head as this EDC. So let's say you did have this in your pocket, and this is the rifle that you go to, and all of a sudden you lose this light. You could actually pull the head off of this,
Right.
put it on here, and it's a backup.
Well, a lot of people, I see that's what they do, right? They buy the bodies and then just swap the
And
heads.
just use it, yeah.
And then
Yep.
whenever they need it, they just put the head on there. So they're getting to be a lot more modular than what they have been, right? So because especially now that the smaller flashlights are getting the higher lumen, so you can use it for a regular flashlight or put it on a rifle.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing too. So, this light I think is around $140, $150 for that light, whereas for the weapon specific light, now you're up in like the 250
Right.
to 300 range, I
Right.
think. So it's like, yeah, you could take this and then get a mount for it, and you'd probably be cheaper, or even more so if you grabbed like one of the G2X's. So those are only $60, and you
Yeah.
can get a ring mount for $20.
I
And
think
now
that's
you
what this is.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the exact same thing. It's just a smaller one.
Yeah.
So
So I mean, in terms of you can, like I said, you could buy 2 or 3 of these and put a couple on rifles, whatever, and so that's the nice thing about those is you can kind of use them for different things, and then you got continuity across different platforms and stuff.
Yep,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
And that's kind of that's what I like. I like just the same thing across. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of the odd person where like if I like it, like I think I have 5 of the same pair of jeans because I like them, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, if I like it, all right, I'm gonna get 5 of them. My wife is like, this is the same thing. Why not? It works, right?
Yeah.
That's how just my.
What was that movie with the guy had the same shirt he wore, and he'd go in there, he'd go in the closet, and he'd be like,
They're all the same.
This is what I imagine Eric's closet looks like. Like, look at that one.
Like, what was Steve Jobs' philosophy? It's one less thing to think about, right?
Right,
So just
yeah.
grab it and go. That's my philosophy. I was like, I don't want to have to sit there and go, oh, what am I going to wear today? I was like, what's clean? Let me grab it and go.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't know, my undeveloped monkey brain just working.
See,
So-
and I imagine Eric's closet, like he opens it up and it's just all just geese. It's all
You go down in my basement and that's what's like hanging up drying. It's like you walk in and it's like, what is this? And it's like, it's for my geese dry.
It's funny.
So
But yeah, I mean, I guess in terms of lights and stuff,
guess-
just something that fits in your pocket. You can carry, have it with you, like anything. It's the one that you have with you that's going to be the one
Right.
that matters. So
and like the biggest thing is just like I think just having like a handheld light on you. I mean, just if you're gonna have it on you or in the truck or in your car or whatever, just you have a light with you because you're gonna use this a lot more than you think you would, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. You guys have heard me say it, and I say it just about every kind of class I teach. Like, if you can't take anything with you, you should always have a cell phone and a flashlight.
Right.
These are self-defense
Right.
tools right here.
Yep,
So
yep. And like those, you can bring them on a plane. You can bring them.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I've ever been somewhere where they're like you can't have a flashlight.
Right.
Like, yeah. So yeah. In terms of using it, so I know. So I've just kind of past couple of months started working on the firearm stuff.
Firearm.
You've used it for a while.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, these are pretty slick in terms of being able to turn the flashlight on and off. With your support hand, hold on to them, and then when you're doing reloads, whatever, it stays with
out
you.
of the way, right? Because you
Yeah.
just and it feels like it's going to be like there, but trust me, when you're going for something, you're never like straight fingered. Like something is always kind of like curling or doing something and just going for it. You just got to realize that that's there, and once it's done, then you can either go back to it or just bring it. Like so, I mean, it's just practice, getting used to that.
Yeah, and then the other thing that I've done for lights, kind of other than this or before this, is shot cord, which this actually just came out of. I have like a
Molly pouch.
light jacket. Oh yeah, Molly pouch. Yeah, but
I use them all the time out of the Molly pouch. I was like, oh,
yeah, just pull, yeah. But yeah, so I have I had a light jacket, and I hated the elastic band that runs through, like they can tighten it with. Because I'm like, if I go try to draw, it always hangs up on stuff, so I just cut it out of there. So yeah, so then I was like, oh, hey, I got some
I can
shot
reuse
cord.
the cord. Yeah.
And so the one way you can do it with this is you have your loop of shot cord, and then you can put your hand through here.
Yep.
and then and use it however you're going to use it. And then if you need to get something though, it's attached to your hand, so you can do other stuff with it. So yeah, that's in terms of like using stuff for self-defense. Being able to do all the normal range stuff that you would do, reload, load, all that stuff, and not lose the flashlight. And that's one thing too, that you can practice that stuff in your basement. Just practice going through like, okay, here's I got my light, and doing all that stuff with it.
And you don't even need a gun in your hand to do reloads, as long as you got something to do just as long as you got like a mag carrier.
Yeah.
Like you can just act like something's there and just
Put it,
grab it and go. And it's one of the safer things. I mean, if some people get freaked out, like, oh, I'm gonna dry fire and all this stuff, it's like, well, if you're worried about that, you can do that in your room without a gun present. So
yeah. So. But yeah, and I know for me, I think this year low light's going to be one of the things that I want to work on more, that I haven't done a ton with. Last year was kind of getting more time with a red dot on a pistol, and so I'm going to kind of continue that, but then also kind of do more stuff with practicing low light and probably trying a few different lights out and seeing kind of what works.
Yeah, because I've done a few low light classes, and this works well. But like you said, it's bigger and bulkier, so I may look for something that's a little bit smaller like that. But I mean, this whole setup's probably $80.
Yep.
And that's with the Thyrum and the light. So it's you should have these everywhere, in my opinion. This thing is just the Thyrum. I can't say it enough. Like, I've had them for years, and man, it's awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
So
yeah, it's pretty slick. So handheld lights versus weapon lights. Like I should say pistol mount. So if we're talking about everyday carry stuff like that, what are your guys' thoughts?
This is just me. I have a weapons mounted light that I keep in my gun safe it's not attached.
Okay.
It's just there.
Yeah.
In case I wanted to throw it on, but generally none of my weapons do I have a light on. I'm kind of relying on this, right? Or not this one specifically, but a
handheld light.
A handheld light as opposed to weapon mounted light. If you're going to have a weapons mounted light, you should still have one of these.
Yes.
Yep.
Right? You don't want to rely on your weapons mounted light as a search.
Right.
To search with. That's for target identification. You search with this.
Right. You don't want to use your gun to search.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the big, and I got, obviously, John and I, we got small kids. So I have this, kind of everywhere because, my home defense gun doesn't have a light on it, for the fact that I want to make sure that nobody uses it as a flashlight. So I have a flashlight just like this next to the bedstand, next to the gun safe. So if we need it, I have to grab a handheld light. So I use a handheld light to search, and the gun for protection, but not on each other. This is still support hand, so I can still run it and keep the gun close.
Yeah.
Some of mine's because I don't want to change all my holsters too.
So, and that's the other thing, because the evolution of these is ever evolving, right? These things change all the time, and things are getting slimmer with more lumen, which is good, right? But when you when you finally land on your carry setup, and all of a sudden the light that you rely on changes, and it's no longer supported, then you have to go through and, more than likely those holsters are now no good, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're changing them out, more than likely other people are as well. So it's not like you can I can sell that holster. Now you have another holster in your box of holsters, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's one thing to look at. So if you get used to using one with like a Thyrum or a cord or something like that, you don't have to worry about one less thing to worry about. So I keep it simple, right? The KISS method.
Yeah. So my thoughts are on it. Like, I always throw some kind of handheld light in my pocket because I'll use it for work. I use it for all kinds of stuff. So always having that, if you can carry, if you're comfortable, if you can get the right holsters, everything like that, to have a light on your pistol. And it doesn't bug you. It's not too big, whatever. I don't see it as a detriment. I see it as kind of like a backup or whatever to the main thing. Because you're like you guys said, you're going to get your handheld light out to search, figure out if there is a threat. You're not going to be searching a room with your handheld light because you don't know what you're going to be pointing at until it's in front of your muzzle. So
right.
yeah, like on my home defense pistols that we have in our nightstands, those have a light on the pistol, but I'm going to be moving around with a handheld light in my hand. I see it as like, okay, if something happens where either I no longer have use of this hand or I'm holding a kid, whatever, I have something on there that I can flip on. But
if
then
needed.
Yep. And so, but then too, you lose the momentary aspect of it because you're not going to be pushing the switch and pulling the trigger, and so.
Yep. But I mean, that's worst case scenario. That's something that's like with me, if it's in the house, like at night, like my house is never pitch dark. We always got like 1 or 2 lights on just in case. So always something to think about, right?
Yep.
Turn on the lights.
Yep.
Just turn the lights on.
Or turn them all off.
I always go with the theory that they're already there.
Pull that down.
Exactly. Yeah. Engage.
Yeah.
The house has the breaker in your room.
The kill switch is there. Welcome to my world.
Turns off everything but the stereo, and then your song of choice, song of choice comes on.
Yeah, that's funny. Star Trek fight music.
So, I think that's pretty much lights in a nutshell. Don't overthink it, but make sure what you have you're going to use on a regular basis, and even if it's big and bulky, but it works. I deal with it. But you can also keep evolving, right? These things are getting smaller, they're getting cheaper. So just figure out what works for you and go for it, and just make sure you have a light on you. That's pretty much like the biggest thing. You're gonna use this a lot.
Have it with you. Yeah, whatever it is, have it with you. And
All right.
All right. Take care, everybody.
All right.